All right, here we are, the second conversation this morning in front of us. This is quite political because the conversation about 2027 has long started, whether politicians admit it or not. As a matter of fact, there are those who are even now visibly concerned that campaign has started, even though INEC has not rung the bell to say, on your marks, go. But it's all right. We've seen this happen almost every other general election cycle. It's barely 2 years. Quite frankly, it's less than 2 years to the next round of general elections. And here we are, politicians are trading, and you're having cross-carpeting, from one end to the other. Of course, fake news and misinformation flying everywhere in between and things like that. But let's try to sit with the development this morning. First off, the All Progressives Congress is the ruling party in Nigeria at the federal level that was established a while ago, and you have governors that won election on the platform of that same party in 2023 and even before 2023. Now, what makes it even more interesting amongst other elements is that we have seen sitting governors from other parties in recent times who have come to join the fold of the All Progressives Congress. And the president, who also by extension is the leader of the APC, has never minced words about it. He says, look, if people want to come join the party, it's because they found it attractive enough. And in many cases, they are right. It's called freedom of association. And in his exact words, he says, I know road. So there's nothing much anybody really, even the eye of the law, can do about that. But the irony of it all is that we're seeing the APC now becoming, on some level, a party that is, for want of better words, eating itself from the inside. Now, here's the context. We're seeing people who have resigned from either the membership of the party or from the government itself, and how they have continually railed against the party. Now, we're not talking about Malam Nasir El-Rufai this morning. We're looking at even people who, after him, have formally left the party, left the government, and working openly with the opposition against the interest of the APC. Now, add to that, there are people we talk to off air who say that there are still card-carrying, bona fide members of the APC who are working against the interest of the party, especially in light of the 2027 general election. And that, again, just helped to thicken the narrative about a possible political coalition that is being put together towards 2027. This morning, I'm joined by someone who is an insider, has his ear and eye to the ground within the All Progressives Congress, a staunch supporter of President Bola Tinubu, and someone who is at the grassroots of the political development in this country and worked assiduously for, well, as the party members will call him, Jagaban, going into the 2023 general election. Chief Chibuna Ubawuike is here to help us speak to some of the developments within the party this morning and help us find sense in what the implications are. Chief, again, I will say a big thank you to you.
You're welcome.
For coming on the program this morning. You and I will agree, at least for once, that your party has recorded a lot of gains in recent times.
Yes.
Yes. The APC has evolved, it has metamorphosed, it has been strengthened. And people like you would say, well, the leadership of President Bola Tinubu cannot be taken away from all of this, because it will appear he is the pivot of the party as it stands right now. Talk to us about what those gains mean for your party going into this election.
The gains, brought about by the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu will strengthen our party to go into the election, and it's a plus, a big plus, a positive development for our party, and it will enable our party to campaign well and be able to garner more votes to win the 2027 general elections.
There are people who argue that the APC is living in some, they are living in the clouds, because they say the APC is not realistic enough to agree that these people who are defecting from these other parties, including the governors of states, 7 governors, are doing so superficially. In other words, there's no substance to it. That most of these governors are only seeking self-preservation, especially for those who have a second-term ambition. If that is the case, with a big if, for example, what are the implications for your party?
The last time I was here, I told you that there are 2 forms of defection. One is a defection for self-political preservation, and the other is defection to assist the government in power to carry or execute its programs and policies.
Right.
Some of the governors that are defecting to our party, and more that will come, to me, it's not for self-political preservation, because if they still remain in their party, they will still get the ticket of their parties to run on the ticket of their, former parties. But there are some politicians that are defecting, for self-political preservation, to secure power, using the party as a vehicle to get the power. They work on their own. It did happen in 2023 election. Some of the people in my party, especially candidates that ran for elections, what they were saying was, vote for me and vote for any presidential candidate of your choice. Especially from my side from my geopolitical zone. That was why my party performed abysmally in my zone, Southeast. Some are still coming. They are coming to contest for power. Some of them are not coming to my party because they have the interest of Mr. President at heart. No. So that's why I call on Mr. President to look inwards. There are, grassroots mobilizers who are closer to the grassroots. Empower them. These are people that will get you the votes. Not some of these decampees, because they are coming to say, vote for me and vote for another presidential candidate of your choice. We have seen it happen in 2023. It is going to even happen more in 2027. So we need to work assiduously to empower those who are in grassroots mobilizers to be able to get us the vote, because the votes counts at the polling units.
It just gets interesting with your party, and 2027 doesn't even make it any less interesting. I'll give you an example. So look at Delta State, for instance. Well, there has been the issue of how that former Deputy President of the Senate, Ubawuike, was the leader of your party in Delta State up until when the governor, Ubawuike, defected to the APC. And of course, we know how these things work. On account of his office as the governor, he becomes the de facto leader of your party in that state. There are people in your party who say this will create a lot of conflict, because look at Akwa Ibom, for example. Akwa Ibom governor has also defected to your party, and today governor is a member of the APC, and by virtue of that, the leader of your party in Akwa Ibom state. How much of infighting are we seeing already, or are we likely to see on account of these conflicts?
Let me take the issue of Delta State. Delta State had what we call a college of leaders. If I borrow the words of the aviation minister,
Festus
Keyamo, we have many leaders in the Delta State. He said, I quote him, that no particular person in Delta in APC will say he is the leader. They have what they call college of leaders within the APC. Within the APC. Why did they do that? To avoid rancor and bitterness, so that there will be harmony amongst the leaders in the Delta, so that they will work with one spirit, one mind, and be able to deliver the goods. Because if one person, as Delta is a mini Nigeria, if one person will say he's the leader, there will be serious acrimony in the state. So before the governor defected to our party, they had what they called a college of leaders. And when the governor came in, they handed over the leadership to him. So the governor today is the leader of the party in Delta State, but he's working together with the college of leaders, so that all of them will work together harmoniously to assess the power and deliver on their mandate.
That's a bit interesting, because people who talk to you on the ground say,
going on the issue of Akwa Ibom,
right,
the governor, yes, has defected to our party. But Akwa Ibom produced the Senate president, the number 3 man in Nigeria. By political hierarchy, the Senate president is number 3 man. But what is happening in Akwa Ibom now is that the governor and the Senate president and the other leaders of the party in the state are working harmoniously together. So there's not going to be any rancor, no bitterness in Akwa Ibom.
So can we categorically say that the president of the Senate, Chief Godswill Akpabio, is the leader of your party in Akwa Ibom State?
He is the leader of the party in South Zone.
The entire zone?
Yes. He's the Senate president. He's the leader of the party in South Zone.
Interesting. But let's talk about Delta again, because that's an interesting case in point. Ubawuike has obviously, this is not, it's the public governorship ambition. 2027 is around the corner, for example. Of course, Ubawuike is going to stand for re-election in 2027. You think this college of leaders idea is going to help fix that?
But I believe that the governor, having defected to our party, will be given the right of first refusal. Whosoever that has ambition to run for governorship in Delta State from my party for now, to me, the person should share it. The governor has the right of first refusal, and I believe my party will give the governor the ticket. And even before he defected, from the information we gathered and things we...
It was part of the agreement.
He was a performing governor. He was working. So, and then coming to my party with, that what he has done and what he has continued to do, we don't have any choice than to give him the ticket to run.
All right. But let's talk about issues that have nothing to do with ticketing, right? For example, we're seeing, if you like, almost like a barrage of resignations. Well, let's talk about some of these other persons now who say they left the APC and they left the government. Some of them did not say they left the APC, at least there's no formal resignation to that effect, but they left the government. And every time someone leaves the government, apart from maybe former Minister of Women Affairs, Barrister Kennedy Oneye, for example, every other person seems to be working against the APC. In our case, she has come out clearly to say, look, I'm working and mobilizing for the president going into the 2027 election. Let's talk about the factors that may be responsible for how that somebody leaves the government and then starts to work against that government. One of them just granted an interview recently, just 2 days ago, saying that he would work against this government.
And let me tell you something. Instead of you to be in a party and be sabotaging the party from within, the best thing is for you to go
and go work against it.
And go work against it, come up here. So some of those people you see are saboteurs within the party. And unfortunately, some of them had appointment with the government. There are some that are still in the government as well. The last time I came here, I said, I know one minister that is working against this government.
But you didn't mention them.
If you allow me, I'll mention his name.
By all means. By all means, go ahead and mention him. And also give us the reason you think he's working against the government.
The Minister of Environment, Malam Bareba Baslawa, is working against this government.
In what sense?
He's truncating government's economic policy. Things, businesses that has to do with his ministry. Let me take the flora and fauna business. That is live animal export, reptiles and wood exportation businesses. These businesses are regulated by international body called CITES, Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. Now, Nigeria is a signatory to CITES. And this international law, Nigeria domesticated, they have their own version, which aligns with the CITES Convention. And it empowers us to trade in animals that will both endangered and non-endangered. Endangered has regulation that you obtain what we call CITES permit to export.
I think it's becoming more interesting, Chief. We need to talk about this and take it home all the way. But let's take a quick break at this point, everyone. When we return, we're going to talk about all these issues as they affect this government.